Welcome back then to our end of season reviews, and we're once again down at the Five Rivers. And if you're watching on YouTube, we've made a substitution, but hopefully if you're listening along on the podcast, it will seem seamless. Clive joins me alongside me downstairs in the basement. But if you also want to listen to the rest of the show, the bumper edition, click in the card above our heads, or you can download in the most audio platforms below the show. But for the rest of people watching on YouTube, you can watch our bite-sized reviews. And we'll be taking your clips and a lot of questions in this second half of this show from some familiar faces that we spoke to over this season. And once again, this episode is sponsored by OneFootball. And do make sure you check out the excellent free OneFootball app to keep up to date, the first to know of all the latest transfer news, stats, scores, all in one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. Okay then, so we covered our villain and heroes of the season. So a slightly different one here then. We could say a cult hero of the season. Someone that's not gone, I suppose, above and beyond, but maybe his antics or his mannerisms on or off the field has really sort of endeared himself to the fans. Or we could in fact say, who has surprised you the most this season? So we've got a couple of nominees.
A cult hero or kind of alternative player of the season. In the end, we went for Pierre, Emile, Hojbjerg. Perhaps like a bit of an obvious one, you know, being our captain, fantastic. I think really the thing that kind of made him the cult hero was also the fact that he seems like the player who can kind of speak to the fans, you know, kind of speak to us on our level. And, you know, it's probably no surprise that every time we had a really poor game, he was the person who was being put out in front of the cameras to front up. And I think Saints fans, they respect a player that is honest, hardworking, puts in the effort and can front up when things are not going well. So Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg for our alternative player of the season.
Saints have had plenty of surprises this season, both on and off the pitch, from Hassan Huddle-Green to come to the team in the first place to James Ward-Prowse nailing down a starting lineup. Then again, you have Nathan Redmond, who came back and had, I would argue, the best year of his career. And yet none of those would be my surprise of the season. I think if you look at the job that Valery has done, one young player of the year from the club, and just, I don't think when he came in that anybody saw him being good enough to have Cedric shipped out. I don't really think any of us expected him to give Cedric a real run for his money, even though Cedric wasn't having the best season for us. But the fact that Valery came in, he was involved in some big goals. You think he scored a goal Manchester United that everybody remembers. He scored not quite the greatest of finishes against Tottenham, but it tied the game and set up James Ward-Prowse for that free kick to beat Lloris. He was involved in that big goal at the end of the season with Matt Targett coming in to get the draw at Bournemouth that saw us stay up. So I think his involvement in those goals then going forward was great. I also think that there weren't all that many times towards down the stretch that we really saw him lacking defensively. He definitely has some growing to do, but that's to be expected of a young player. But he really made that position his own. And I think if I had to pick my biggest surprise of the season, it would be him, because I don't think at the beginning of the season anybody would have thought he was going to come in and do that.
So who surprised you the most then this season, or who is your cult hero? A nomination for Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg there by John, the host of the Saints FC podcast, our friends, and our friend from California, Matt Markstone, nominates Valery, his breakthrough season. Do you have anybody else to nominate?
No, I think they've nailed it pretty much there. John, you know, makes some very good points about Hojbjerg. I always believed he was a quality player. Always, right from day one. I've been lucky enough to meet the guy. He's sound as a pound. He's straight down the line, and he cares about Saints. Yeah. There's a bit in there, mate. There's a lot of heart in there. So, and that song...
I still don't know how it goes. Well, tell us.
No, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. But all I know is he hates Pompey, apparently. Yeah. and he comes from... He doesn't come from Munich, comes from Copenhagen, doesn't he? But he's been fantastic. He's been really, really strong, and he's shown a lot of heart there when we've needed it. I kind of think the award has to go to what Matt said, Valery, because when he came in, I've always been a big admirer of Cedric, so I was a little bit sort of, oh, who's this guy, you know? But he came in, he did okay, but I was thinking, well, yeah, youngsters come in, they play a few games, and then they drift off again. But this lad was here to stay. And he really nailed that right back position down, and he looked so comfortable through the season. And he's very what I call he glides onto the ball and he makes his passes easy. He gets forward quick, and he's got that sort of low centre of gravity that the tricky wingers find it hard to beat him. You know, he's quite good at stopping people, and that's what a defender's job is first and foremost.
He's got quite an unusual sort of a method, if you like. He gallops, he strides.
Yes,
he's got a good rhythm to his run. I'm not sure many people have highlighted that before, but he's also got sort of an unorthodox sort of crossing technique. I mean, Cedric, he's got the sort of that technique, the curling of the ball.
Yeah.
But Valery seems to kind of loop it across the defence. So a 2-horse race. The award goes to Jan Valery.
Jan Valery, yeah, and I'm looking forward to him next season. You know, going on and continuing his progress and being a very important part of the team.
All right, well, Jan, if you're watching or listening, I'm sure there'll be a point
Say
here.
bon.
I'm sure
Say bon.
I'm sure
Fred,
that
you're bilingual, aren't you? You know, you should know what the words are.
I don't speak French.
Oh, it's Spanish.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jan, if you're watching or listening along, there'll be a pint here at the Five Rivers. Hopefully you're old enough. I think you are 19 years old.
Très bien.